Donald Trump saw historic support in Chicago. He got 21% of the vote, up nearly 10 points from 2016. Pastor Corey Brooks joins me. Trump did better than any Republican running for president in Illinois since 1992. Why do you think he performed so well?
Well, I think targeted messaging, first of all, reaching out to the black community and not taking it for granted that they're just going to automatically vote Democrat because that's the way it's been done. I think the targeted messaging, and I think along with community activists who were actively engaged in trying to get the message out that the Republican Party is available and that Donald Trump's principles will align more with what we're trying to accomplish in our community.
Well, with that kind of support for Trump inside Chicago, will there be any do you expect any change by the Chicago's Democrat leadership?
Well, they better change, because they're hearing the voice of the people, and that's really important. Change is very much needed in Chicago. We're not just in Chicago, but Illinois as well. We're facing overwhelming budget numbers. We're trying to figure things out. They're contemplating taxing our way out of it, and that's not the way to go. And so if we don't make the proper changes, we're going to continue to see our city and our state decline. But there are people like myself and others who are doing everything we can to keep the message that change is inevitable.
Well, listen to what Illinois' Governor J.B. Pritzker had to say about Trump's victory. Roll that tape, please.
Take away the freedom and opportunity and dignity of Illinoisans. I would remind you that a happy warrior is still a warrior. You come for my people, you come through me.
Whoa, there's a warrior for you. The resistance to Trump seems to be taking shape, just like it did in 2016 after his win then. Is it the resistance? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. In 2016, immediately after Trump won, the resistance took place. You're going to start to see that happening, especially in these liberal strongholds like Chicago and Illinois. They're going to try to take a stand. But I think ultimately the people are going to win. They've already spoken. They've already given Trump a mandate. And so he's going to go forward with that mandate. And I believe those who don't make the proper changes, they're going to result in the consequences of that by hurting the state and the city.
Do you see a change of mood at all?
Oh, for sure. There's definitely a change of mood. There are a lot of people who are excited, as you see, even in the stock market going up. There are a lot of people in Chicago who are excited that change is going to come because we realize we've been doing the same thing for years and we've not gotten the results that we've needed, especially economically speaking. So if we're going to improve economically, the mood has to continue to increase and everybody has to enjoy the ride.
Pastor Corey Brooks, always a pleasure. Thanks for being with us
Absolutely.
On the show today. Come back soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Today
Thank you.
to remind people that no matter the storm that we face, Illinois will always strive to make you welcome and safe and protected. Chaos, retribution, and disarray radiated from the White House the last time Donald Trump occupied it. Perhaps this time may be different. But if it isn't, Illinois will remain a place of stability and competent governance. Through his repeated attacks on workers and women, on immigrants and people with disabilities, and our LGBTQ plus community, Illinois has remained a place where rights are protected and that everyone can call home. Despite his threats to health care coverage and educational opportunity and a fair minimum wage, Illinois will continue to invest in the well-being and prosperity of our people. Donald Trump will be our next president. He won the election, and we must all be willing to work together for the common good. In months ahead, we should all be focused on the peaceful transition of power, even if Donald Trump didn't afford that to his successor. But we also must be focused on the defense of our entire Constitution, not just the parts that demand the peaceful transfer of power. While I was certainly surprised by Tuesday's results, I was not unprepared. Having fought through the headwinds of the first Trump administration, the General Assembly and I took proactive steps to plan for the potential of a second Trump presidency and protect our residents from the damage that it may attempt to cause. We enshrined reproductive rights and other healthcare protections into the state constitution via the Reproductive Health Act to protect women from his Supreme Court's extreme anti-choice agenda. We built a path to an abundant, clean energy future in an attempt to protect our children and our planet from his reversion toward lower environmental standards that will pollute our air and water. We reaffirmed labor rights and nearly doubled the minimum wage to beat back Trump's consistent assault on American workers. We invested in advanced manufacturing and electrification and new high-tech industries to attract new businesses and jobs to Illinois and ensure that tariffs and trickle-down economics do not define our state's economic future. Illinois will continue to be a refuge for those whose rights are being denied elsewhere: women seeking reproductive health care, immigrants searching to work hard for a better life, LGBTQ Americans looking for welcome and protection, and people with disabilities whose civil and human rights are under attack. Over the years ahead, we'll do more than just protect against the possible reversion to an agenda that threatens to take us backward. We will continue to advance a positive, productive, and inclusive agenda of our own, one that brings opportunity to Illinois and helps uplift the nation as a whole. One final note. People have often said that I'm a happy warrior, and I've always taken seriously my role as a happy warrior on behalf of this state. Even today, when I'm struggling with many of the difficult questions this election poses, my optimism for the future remains undiminished. Governing is hard work, but it's also important and challenging work. I refuse to let it grind me down. Setting the example for us all are the hardworking and decent people of Illinois who refuse to let the challenges they face grind them down. To anyone who intends to come take away the freedom and opportunity and dignity of Illinoisans, I would remind you that a happy warrior is still a warrior. You come for my people, you come through me.
Governor Pritzker shared his reaction to the election results.
He says Illinois is ready to protect the rights that could be threatened. Courtney Spinelli live in the West Loop with more on the governor's remarks. Courtney.
Yeah, good afternoon to you both. Governor J.B. Pritzker is making a promise to protect vulnerable communities amid the election results. Now, he spoke this morning and was asked a variety of questions about the election and why the way he believes it shook out like it did for Democrats. But he said right now things are just too early to speculate without knowing more specifics on things like demographics from the states where they went red for this election. Now, instead, Pritzker chose to focus his remarks on acknowledging the concerns of Illinoisans who may be feeling anxious after the election. The president-elect's victory raises questions about the future of abortion access in the U.S. He recently stated he believes states should determine their own policies, though as president he supported a House bill that would have banned abortion nationwide after 20 weeks. Under Pritzker, Illinois has maintained some of the strongest abortion protection laws in the country. He's also passed legislation to give people access to gender-affirming care. Pritzker says Illinois is prepared for a second Trump presidency. He says he's taken steps with the General Assembly to plan ahead on abortion, the environment, labor, and business investments, though not offering many specifics.
Over the years ahead, we'll do more than just protect against the possible reversion to an agenda that threatens to take us backward. We will continue to advance a positive, productive, and inclusive agenda of our own. Despite his threats to health care coverage and educational opportunity and a fair minimum wage, Illinois will continue to invest in the well-being and prosperity of our people.
Pritzker also fielded questions about things from his veto session agenda to the projected $3.2 billion shortfall in 2026. He cautions the budget will be balanced and that history shows the flat projection forecast is typically inaccurate, he says. He was asked about what the state should do if the president-elect withholds federal funding for police grants or goes through with his plan for mass deportations. Pritzker says those nonpartisan grants are decided by independent groups and says it would be illegal for the Trump administration to do anything like like that. Now, he was also asked today a question on the minds of many, whether he will be putting in his own bid for presidency come next election. He says right now he has no plans to announce and that he is very happy doing what he does here at the state level for Illinoisans. Now, we did hear a lot of reporters that were trying to ask additional questions, but they did cut that off right before the 30-minute mark today as people were trying to ask about other additional election implications. But we are waiting to hear more if those questions do get answered. For now, reporting live in the West Loop, Courtney Spinelli,
Budget
WGN
hearings
News.
continue this week, but the issue that's top of mind for many aldermen is the mayor's proposed $300 million property tax hike.
It is such a big issue that many city leaders are calling for a special meeting to reject the increase, making room for alternative solutions. Sabrina Franza has been speaking to aldermen ahead of this meeting on Wednesday. Sabrina?
Jim, they'll get that meeting. This move could force the mayor's hand before things get too close to the budget deadline on December 31st, before the budget becomes take it or leave it. Now, even some of the mayor's most loyal supporters have said they'd reject a property tax of this magnitude.
Would you be a yes or a no vote in that case?
If there's a quorum, yes, if there's a quorum, I will be voting. As I said, I think that I will be voting to make sure that property taxes are not the way that we balance this budget.
Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez. He's been against a property tax increase since it was proposed, though he did not sign this letter calling for a special meeting to reject the idea of a $300 million property tax hike altogether.
I don't believe in political theater. I always believe in not only making questions, but provide solutions.
So ordered.
One of those solutions, he says, to contribute less to the city's advanced pension fund. Meanwhile, in closed-door meetings, we're told Mayor Brandon Johnson, who ran his mayoral campaign promising not to raise property taxes, has been meeting with alders to figure out a solution.
That's a welcoming change. I think in previous administrations, all we have seen is impositions and dictating terms.
Some have felt differently during this year's first budget hearings.
A bunch of members were throwing out ideas, and all we kept getting back as answers were, well, here's why that wouldn't work.
They'll need 26 members to show up to proceed, but 34 votes to suspend the rules before the rejection can go to a vote.
Folks you would imagine don't really agree ideologically are in agreement on this.
The meeting starts at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Some of the aldermen we've spoken to believe they will be able to successfully reject this budget proposal. The mayor's office has not responded to our request for comment. In the newsroom, Sabrina Franza, CBS News, Chicago.
Sabrina, thank you.
Mayor Brandon Johnson making it clear today whether it's protecting undocumented families in Chicago or his budget priorities, he will not compromise on his values. But on the budget, he seems willing to ease some of the pain on his proposed property tax hike. Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposed $300 million property tax hike has received significant criticism from alderpersons from the moment he introduced it right up until today, as public safety and other departments were getting their budgets scrutinized.
What we know is this: we are working to ensure that we go line by line to squeeze this budget as much as we can before we ask for $1 more from taxpayers.
In light of all the pushback from the council, the mayor suggesting his tax hike plan may not have been as serious as originally thought.
Well, I don't necessarily consider it as pushback. I'll say it like this. So as a public school teacher, sometimes we do things to get people's attention. And so now that we have the attention of everyone, I've said from the very beginning, this is a proposal. I'm a collaborative mayor.
But Mayor Johnson said layoffs and furloughs are still out of the question, and he won't defer making a supplemental pension payment this year. The mayor denied misreading the council when he announced the property tax hike.
My finance team continues to have robust conversations about other forms of revenue that they should consider.
Also today, with the potential loss of federal dollars for law enforcement if the city won't cooperate with the Trump administration's plans to deport undocumented immigrants, the mayor making it clear Chicago will not be bullied into helping ICE agents.
We're not going to bend or break or cower to someone's threat. We're going to stand up and unite around our shared values, and they have my assurance that I'm going to protect the families of this city.
The special city council meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow for a vote on the mayor's property tax hike has now been pushed back to Thursday.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News. La première fois.